Money doesn't just affect people. It doesn't just affect businesses, it shapes entire nations. At the economic level, money decides which countries grow and which stay behind. Money drives trade, it fuels investment, it influences nations. It influences inflation, and it even defines global power. In this episode, we'll look at money from the economic perspective, how it works, and how it silently shapes the world we live in. So what exactly is an economy? An economy is simply the system of how money and resources move between individuals, businesses, and the government. When people spend, businesses earn. When people work, they earn money and pay taxes. Governments use those taxes to provide public services. That continuous cycle is called economic activity. And money is the force that keeps it all moving. Economists measure that activity with something called GDP, Gross Domestic Product. In simple terms, GDP is the total value of everything a country produces. If GDP grows, the economy is expanding. If GDP shrinks, the country is in recession. And why does that matter? Because when GDP rises, the country becomes more stable. For example, Germany has one of the largest GDPs in Europe. It produces cars, machinery and technology. That's why the economy is stable and why it has influence across global markets. Although that used to be because Germany is not doing good, but it used to be one of the stable economies in Europe. But now let's talk about inflation. Inflation is simply the rise of prices over time. A little inflation is healthy. It encourages spending and investment instead of saving. Money has to be spent. But there's a risk. High inflation reduces buying power. Your 1,000 euros from last year might buy only 900 euros worth today. Inflation happens when there's more money in circulation than goods being produced. It can also come from supply shortages like oil, energy or food, rising production costs or excessive government spending. When prices rise too fast, central banks step in. They raise the interest rate to slow the economy. Inflation is the pressure point that keeps balance between money supply and real production. Interest rates are at the steering wheel of the economy. When rates are low, borrowing becomes cheap. In that case, businesses expand and the economy speeds up. When the interest rates are high, the borrowing slows down. The spending decreases, investments pause. The economy cools off. And that balance prevents both crashes and bubbles. So the interest rates are how central banks keep the economy on the road. Money doesn't stop at borders. Countries constantly exchange it through global trade. Exporting goods brings money in. Importing goods sends money out. And the goal of this is the same as a business: sell more than you buy. That's called a trade surplus. A country that buys more than it sells has a trade deficit. For example, the Netherlands exports agriculture and machinery. Germany exports cars and engineering. These exports combined strengthen their economies and increase political influence abroad. Not all currencies are equal. Some hold global trust and that creates power. The euro, strong in trade and stability. The US dollar, dominant in global transactions. The Chinese yuan, rapidly growing in international reach. These currencies don't just represent economies, they represent influence. Countries compete to keep their currency strong because it affects imports, exports and international credibility. Money is not just natural, it's geopolitical power. The global economy isn't equal. Some countries grow fast, others struggle. You might wonder why that is. Might be caused by weak infrastructure, unstable currency, debt dependency, low production capacity, and of course political instability. But the landscape nowadays is changing. Emerging markets in Africa and the Middle East, these markets are growing rapidly. As trade barriers fall and global investment increases, the map of economic power is shifting quietly but steadily. From an economic perspective, money drives national growth. It shapes prices and living standards, it defines global relationships, and it builds power dynamics between nations. At this level, money isn't emotional, it's systemic. It's the oxygen that keeps economies alive. So at the end of this lesson, here's my question for you. Do you believe the global economy system is fair? Or do strong economies control the weaker ones? Share your thoughts in the comments and I'll read them personally. In the next topic, we move into a new monthly theme, but with the same four-angle structure, because nothing in this world stands alone. Everything connects. So thank you for watching. My name is Remco Coerman and this is the Coerman Class, the Finance and Business School. Sponsored by Epic Edges.